Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Great. So today we're looking at
AI?
AI and the job market,
Yeah.
right? Which is, I think,
Huge topic.
a really huge topic.
Yeah.
And we're going off of this document called The Future of Work, AI and the Job Market. And one thing I really like about this document is it's not just all doom and gloom or all, sunshine and roses.
Right.
It's really like
Looking at both sides.
looking at all the sides and
all the angles.
all the angles.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to dig into this with you because I know
And it's such a
you got so much expertise.
it's changing so rapidly, right? I mean, every day there's a new headline about AI, about
Oh yeah.
chatbots or,
Go-
self-driving.
So it's hard to keep up.
Yeah,
But that's why we're here today, to
exactly.
do a deep dive.
So one thing that I thought was really interesting is that the document emphasizes that AI isn't just about robots taking over, which I think is
A common misconception,
yeah,
but that it could actually really boost
human potential.
human potential.
Yeah.
So how so?
Well, one way is just sheer productivity and efficiency, right? Like AI can process information and perform tasks way faster than we can as humans.
Right.
And the document gives this great example
Oh.
in healthcare,
Okay.
where AI could be used to analyze patient data
Mm-hmm.
and lead to faster and more accurate diagnoses.
So then the doctor has more time
Exactly.
to actually be with the patient.
It frees up the doctor to spend more time with the patient, to provide more personalized care,
Yeah.
to really focus on the human aspects of medicine,
Wow.
which is, I think, what a lot of people are craving.
Absolutely. That human touch.
And it's funny because I feel like we hear about AI in healthcare and we're kind of like, oh yeah, someday.
It's already happening.
It's already happened.
It's happening now. There are AI-powered tools being used in hospitals and clinics all over the world.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
And it's not just healthcare, right? The document also talks about all these new jobs and industries that are emerging.
Think about like AI trainers, right? People who are actually training these AI systems or prompt engineers who are designing the language the AI uses to interact with us.
Yeah.
And then there's even this emerging field of AI ethics,
Oh, wow.
which I think is fascinating.
That's really cool.
Yeah, because as AI becomes more powerful, we need to make sure that it's being used ethically, responsibly, for
Right.
the benefit of humanity. Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are all new jobs that didn't exist even a few years ago.
And it's like it's changing so fast. I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what jobs are going to be around in 5 years?
All right. Exactly.
So, like, for example, the document mentions self-driving vehicles,
Right.
which
They will
huge. Right. And that's going to completely
change everything.
change everything.
Transportation, logistics,
Yeah.
manufacturing, all sorts of industries are going to be impacted.
And it's not just the drivers, right? Like there's going to have to be people
Absolutely.
to program the vehicles and
You're going to need software engineers.
right.
You're going to need people who can design and build the sensors. You're going to need people to create the infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to need policymakers
Yeah.
to figure out the regulations,
Absolutely.
the legal framework around all of this.
Right.
So it's not just about replacing jobs, it's about creating entirely new ones.
Right. And it's like this whole idea of human AI collaboration that the document talks about,
Yes.
where AI is not replacing us. It's like
It's working with us.
it's working with us.
It's augmenting our abilities.
Yeah.
It's allowing us to do things we could never do before.
Okay. So it's more like AI is our really smart
Sidekick.
sidekick. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
But,
Let that.
we got to be realistic, right?
Right.
The document doesn't shy away from the potential downsides
Of course not.
of AI either,
No, we have to acknowledge the challenges.
like job displacement,
Right. Automation.
automation.
Yeah.
It's a real concern.
Absolutely.
I mean, especially, and they talk about this in the document, like
Manufacturing.
manufacturing and
Retail, where AI-powered systems could become much more cost-effective than human labor.
right.
I mean, they even cite a projection that, and this is hypothetical, of course, but up to 30% of jobs in those sectors
Right.
could be automated by 2030.
2030, that's
It's not that far off.
not that far off.
No, it's coming quickly.
So then what happens to all those people?
Right, that's the big question.
Yeah.
And that's where the discussion gets really interesting.
Oh.
Because the document doesn't just lay out the challenges, it also explores potential solutions. Ways to strike a balance between harnessing the power of AI
Okay.
and protecting workers.
I like it.
And that's what we're going to dive into in part 2 of our deep dive.
Awesome. Can't wait.
So, like I was saying, the document really digs into finding that balance
Right.
between AI's potential and protecting workers.
Mm.
And it really dives into like what role governments could play in shaping this future.
Okay, so like policy stuff.
Yeah, policies, regulations, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas that keeps coming up
Yeah.
is this thing called Universal Basic Income,
Oh, UBI.
UBI, right?
I heard of that.
It's this idea that everyone, regardless of whether they have a job or not, gets a regular payment from the government.
Interesting.
So the idea is to create this safety net,
Okay.
especially as automation potentially like shakes things up in the job market.
Yeah, it's definitely like a radical idea.
It is. It's definitely outside the box thinking.
Yeah.
And the document, presents both sides. Like some people argue that it could give people financial security during times of like massive job displacement, but then others worry that it could discourage people from working altogether.
Right.
So it's not like a clear-cut solution.
There's always trade-offs.
There are always trade-offs, exactly.
Yeah.
But it's something that I think we need to be talking about as AI continues to evolve.
For sure.
And UBI is just one piece of the puzzle, right?
Okay.
The document also talks a lot about reskilling programs.
So like helping people get the skills they need.
Exactly, like equipping people with the skills that are going to be in high demand.
So like AI development and stuff.
Yeah, like AI development, data science, cybersecurity,
Yeah.
all those fields that are going to be so important in this AI-powered future.
And it's like not just learning to code, right?
No, it's bigger than
like we were talking about earlier.
AI ethics. That's
Yeah.
a whole new skill set.
Totally.
Like understanding the implications of AI,
Yeah.
navigating the ethical dilemmas, making sure it's used responsibly.
And I feel like that's going to be important in every industry.
Absolutely. It's not just a tech industry thing.
Yeah.
This is going to touch every aspect of our lives.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, reskilling and education are key.
Big time, yeah.
Okay, so we've got UBI, we've got reskilling, and then the document also brings up this really important point about regulation.
Okay, yeah, that's a big one.
Huge, right?
Because it's like AI is so powerful.
It is.
We need to make sure it's used ethically.
Absolutely. We need guidelines. We need safeguards
Yeah.
to prevent it from being used in harmful ways.
For sure.
And this is where things get tricky.
How so?
Well, because we're still figuring out how to regulate AI effectively.
Which is like a moving target.
It is. Like the technology is evolving so rapidly.
Right.
And then there are all these complex issues like algorithmic bias, data privacy, the potential for AI to be used in discriminatory ways.
Yeah.
It's not easy stuff.
No.
But it's stuff we need to be grappling with.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, regulation is crucial.
For sure. For sure.
But it's not just the government's responsibility. Right.
Okay, so who else?
Businesses.
I mean, companies are the ones who are often driving AI adoption.
Right.
They're the ones who are benefiting from increased efficiency and productivity, so they have a role to play too.
Okay, so what kind of role are we talking about here?
Well, the document talks about things like corporate responsibility.
Okay.
Companies need to think about the impact of AI on their workforce.
Right.
And they need to take steps to mitigate any negative consequences.
So, like, what kind of steps?
Well, for example, they could offer on-the-job training programs to help employees adapt to new AI-powered systems.
Okay.
Or they could support workers in transitioning to entirely new roles within the company.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right. Because if a company is going to automate certain jobs, they have a responsibility to help those workers find new opportunities.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about being proactive and responsible.
Okay, but like, shouldn't the government be taking the lead on this?
That's a good question, and it's a complex one. There's a whole debate about the role of government versus the private sector in addressing these kinds of systemic shifts.
Right.
And the document encourages us to think critically about these issues.
Yeah, no easy answers.
No easy answers, but it's a conversation we need to be having.
For sure, for sure.
So we've talked about UBI, reskilling, regulation, corporate responsibility. And then the document also brings up this really interesting concept called the cobot model.
Cobot, what's that?
So it's basically this idea that AI is designed to work with humans,
Okay.
not against them.
So like a collaboration.
Exactly. It's a more collaborative approach.
I like that.
Yeah, the idea is that AI handles the repetitive, routine tasks while humans focus on tasks that require creativity, critical thinking, empathy,
Oh.
complex decision-making.
So it's like AI takes care of the boring stuff,
Exactly.
and then humans can focus on the more interesting stuff.
Right. The stuff that requires our uniquely human skills.
Okay, so instead of robots taking over, AI could actually help us
Enhance our abilities.
enhance our abilities, yeah.
And maybe even find more fulfilling work.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right. It's a much more optimistic way of looking at it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I've covered a lot,
We have.
but like any good deep dive,
There are always more questions.
always more questions. And the document has some really thought-provoking ones
Oh, yeah, they're good.
to kind of like help us continue this conversation.
Keep us thinking.
Keep us thinking.
Exactly.
So we've talked about a lot of different aspects of AI and the job
We
market.
have. It's a big topic.
Huge, yeah. And I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
It feels that way, right?
But luckily, this document gives us a lot to think about.
It does. It really does.
Like in the questions for discussion section.
Oh, yeah, those are good.
They're so good.
Yeah.
And they really kind of help us continue the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So the first question is a big one, and we've kind of been circling around it this whole time. Will AI ultimately create more jobs than it eliminates?
$1 million question right there.
Right. Or are we all going to be out of a job?
Yeah. Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Right.
It's a common fear.
Yeah.
And the document doesn't pretend to have all the answers.
Right.
It does offer some interesting perspectives.
Yeah.
Like, on one hand, you have all these new industries popping up,
Right.
jobs that we couldn't even imagine a few years ago.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, AI is automating existing jobs pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's like a race
It is. It's a race against time.
to see, like, can we create new jobs fast enough
Right.
to
Exactly.
keep up with the jobs that are being lost?
And can we reskill people fast enough
Yeah,
to fill those new jobs?
that's a really good point.
Yeah, it's a big challenge.
Okay, so then that kind of leads into another question that the document brings up,
Okay.
which is, should governments implement something like universal basic income
UBI.
to help people who are displaced by AI?
Yeah, that's a big one.
Right.
A lot of debate around that.
It's a radical idea.
It is. It's definitely a big change from how we typically think about work and income.
Yeah, and the document, lays out the arguments on both sides.
Mhm.
Like, would it actually help people?
Right.
Or would it create a whole bunch of new problems?
Exactly. And there are valid concerns on both sides.
Yeah.
It's not a simple issue,
No, it's complicated.
but it's something that we need to be discussing
For sure.
as AI becomes more prevalent in our lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not just the economic implications, right?
Okay, so what else is there?
Like, what happens to society
Oh,
if a large portion of the population doesn't have traditional jobs anymore?
that's a really good question.
Right. Like, how do people find purpose and meaning?
Yeah,
How do we structure our society?
wow.
These are big philosophical questions.
They really are.
And the document doesn't shy away from them.
I like that.
It really pushes us to think deeply about these issues.
So we've talked about like government policy.
Yeah.
But what about businesses?
Oh, they have a huge role to play. Like,
All
how can companies help workers adapt to these changes?
Yeah.
What responsibility do they have to support their employees?
And the document talks about lifelong learning being really important.
Yes, absolutely.
Like always be learning new skills.
Exactly, because the skills that are in demand today might not be the skills that are in demand tomorrow.
So you got to stay ahead of the curve.
You got to be adaptable, you got to be a lifelong learner.
Right.
And companies can help with that.
How so?
They can provide training opportunities,
That's good.
create pathways for internal mobility, maybe even offer financial support for employees who want to go back to school.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, it's about investing in your workforce
Yeah.
and recognizing that the future of work is going to require constant learning and adaptation.
So another question that really got me thinking was,
Okay.
are there any industries where we should restrict AI,
Ooh, that's a tough one.
right, to protect jobs and maybe even like social well-being?
Yeah, where do we draw the line?
Right.
Are there certain things that should always be done by humans?
Even if a robot could do it better.
Even if a robot could do it faster, more efficiently.
Yeah.
It's a question of values.
And like human connection.
Exactly.
Like, are there certain jobs that just require that human touch?
That empathy, that compassion.
Yeah, exactly.
And how do we protect those jobs?
It's something to really think about.
It is. It's a big question.
Okay, so last question, and I think this one is really important for everyone listening.
All right, let's hear it.
What skills do you think are going to be most valuable
Right.
in an AI-powered world?
Ooh, good one.
Right.
Well, obviously technical skills are important.
Like coding and stuff.
Yeah, like AI development, data science, software engineering.
Right.
Those are going to be in high demand.
But it's not just the tech skills, right?
No, not at all.
What else?
It's the human skills.
Oh.
The things that AI can't replicate.
Like what?
Creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, empathy, emotional intelligence.
These are all, like, really human skills.
They are. They're what make us unique,
Okay.
and they're going to be more valuable than ever.
In an AI-powered world.
Exactly, because AI can handle the routine tasks,
Right.
but it's the human skills that will allow us to thrive.
So it's all about finding that balance
Yes.
between the tech and the human.
It's the human-AI collaboration that
Yeah.
we've been talking about.
That's the key.
It is.
So I think the big takeaway from all of this is that the future of work is not set in stone.
Right.
It's a conversation that we're all a part of,
Absolutely.
and we need to be informed.
Yes.
We need to be engaged,
Oh, you need to be proactive.
and we need to shape this future together.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So that wraps up our deep dive into AI and the future of work.
Another deep dive complete.
We hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
And a little bit thought-provoking.
Yeah, for sure. Keep those conversations going.
Keep learning, keep adapting.
The future is out there waiting for us to shape it.
That's right.
And until next time, keep diving deep.